the real close contenders, the ones to beat in APAC South. But as we get into this game, in reality, we have very little to no history from either of these two current rosters for this map, which to me tells me that this is going to be an exciting and unpredictable map.
I think this one's going to be an absolute brawl. I don't know about you.
I hope so.
But I think, look, it's theme park. It's one of those ones that you don't know a whole lot about. We don't know a whole lot about, so we're probably going to go, oh wow, they're shooting each other. It's quite exciting. I think it's going to be an absolute bloodbath in the server. I
certainly hope so, but there's going to be a little bit less sneaking about, as with Nook in the lobby, as Nook has been taken out, as the Flores has as well. So the Thatchers actually managed to sneak on in here, as has the Ying. Operators we've seen banned prevalently across OS and other regions.
And there we go, because of those two bans coming through, that means that your EMPs on Thatcher and or your Hard Breach has slipped through the ban phase as well for the attackers. Now, Theme Park is quite a challenging map to attack, as its nature is. It's quite boxed in. There's not really ways that you can sneak your way around the map. It can be quite choky at some points through the map as well, and so making sure that you've got all your tools on the board to try and cut down the bomb site once you get there is quite important. And having Flores being taken out can make it a little bit tricky to clear some of the shields, but having walls open is a good thing.
And the Mirror taken out at the end of the day. No Mirror, no Solace, so we will see the Azami slip on through, which can be great for fortifying positions on Theme Park. Theme Park is the map for fortifying positions, for forcing the attackers through choke points. It's really not a pleasant one to attack, which is why it has been the least played map in Rainbow Six in 2023. Across all of the Blast Leagues, it's only been played 7 times. That's out of over 200 maps played, Mandy. So by far the least played, hasn't been touched at all in OS so far. This is its debut.
That's actually so crazy. Theme Park is just like one of those infuriating maps to play. When you go in as an attacker, you can't quite get into the building because it's so difficult to make an entry, and then once you're in the building, you're stuck at a choke point. It can be quite challenging and frustrating to go through. Now, not only that, but we're starting out on this ground floor bomb site dev, and well, Armory and Throne Room is probably, in my books, the hardest bomb site in the entire competitive pool on all maps to attack, in my opinion.
It's a real pain.
It is so painful. It's so fortified.
I mean, the only avenues for the attack that you can say as redeeming qualities is that there are 3 massive walls on this site that you can breach. You've got the barrels, or sorry, the maintenance wall here. You've got the barrels wall on the opposite side that our Observer Sky is pointing out. And thirdly, you've got this yellow wall. The problem is, it can be very difficult to actually breach those walls in the first place with so many anti-breach up. I'm looking most at the impacts that that Wildcard have brought to potentially trick any thermite charges. But also, you've also got the roam game, which is really good for the defense and really hard to clear that out while also preparing for an execute to attack.
It's not just that, but then by the time you open up those walls, you get a look in the bomb site, and then there are so many good power positions as well that like can't be cleared through vertical, really hard to get nades off and that kind of thing. It's yada-yada. It's just world of pain. But here's what Homeless is starting off with. They're going over to this cache side of the map. They're not going to sweep over from, cafe side of the map. They're not going to sweep over from cache, but they're immediately met by Karu on the other side with the Azami.
And he can constantly open up new positions for him to play behind. Great nade there, though, and player to deliver the headshot to boot. What a great play. The first nade pushed very deep. Not only pushed Cairo back, but took down his cover. Immediately followed up with a nade. So great opening now from Homeless on their attack.
Oh, and a lot of map control handed to them as well, except for Tuhan, who is the next point of resistance, still loitering around on this top floor. Now, the hatch directly next to him is open, so if he chooses to go for a full off, he could. Josh as well, able to double down onto Logic as Edpan sneaks around the corner.
Oh, that was very tight there, Mandy. He does eventually manage to sneak away after he vaulted up on the yellow stairs. Now, Tui has claimed one as well. This looked like a very good start for Homeless, but Wildcard have brought back the man count. 3 rounds apiece, 3 players apiece, and just have a look at the drones available from Homeless. There's barely any left.
Oh, it's like they've been playing Ring Around the Rosie for this entire round, Deb. All these players have just been circling each other on both floors. Now it's starting to translate down to the ground floor. OJ taking a fight inside of this Tiger hallway, going into the split double, but 2 defenders now retreated back on the site. In fact, all 3 retreated back onto the site.
Yeah, this is going to be really awkward now. It comes down to the hard breach game. Now, is there impact available here for Edpan? Oh, it gets over, but does not quite destroy the exothermic. So good breach now for Homeless, something to work with. But what they don't have much of are drones left. You can see Juicy and Quiz just have 1 each to try and find out these defenders.
Ooh, but they still do have the Ying, and the Ying has 3 Candelas. There are 3 defenders. The bomb could totally go down here. It could be very scary for Wildcard.
Oh, Quiz has spotted out one player. Careful peeking that 200. What low HP! But he lands a shot straight between the eyes onto Quiz. 3v2 now for Wildcard. The entry comes through. Juicy does not check his corners. The Ying's Candelas went out, but it didn't even matter in the end. Wildcard recompose.
The doors and corners, that's where they get you. Able to sit down on the bomb site. Wildcard play the retreat game as a very scary mid-round went through on the roam clear. It was really back and forth. We saw all these wraparounds from the defenders. Sky did a great job at catching all this action going down the top floor as well. But in the end, Wildcard prevail once again. Very hard bomb site to execute onto. It can be quite linear even once that breach gets open.
And it's a good start for Wildcard. I was a bit concerned for them on that roam game. The roam clear looked really good for Homeless, but credit to Wildcard to double down and fight back, right? It's interesting to me that the amount of drone work that happened in that very early game, but it's funny, right? Because the entries are the ones moving in the building. It's the supports who are droning them out. And when in the roam game, the drones from the supports all get shot and the entry players all get shot, well, the entries' drones are now dead in their pocket or in pre-placed positions, and the supports are left alive with no drones left to support themselves.
Yeah, that's really hard thing about the drone economy, isn't it? You need to make sure that you have the right players alive towards the end who have active drones, and it's such a situational thing. It's not really something that you can plan for. It's just something that you have to scrim over and over again, and then eventually you get into this habitual state of I have drones and therefore I need to be droning in the right time. It's just being aware of that drone economy. It's something that's very, very hard to practice, but there you go. Yeah. Theme Park, one of the things really punishing. One
of the things we talked about a lot with Homeless when we were talking about the border maps that they have played so far is they've had really good pre-placed drones. Same thing with Bliss. We've seen both of those teams ban a lot of this Solus, so I really hope Homeless have found themselves a lot of pre-placed spots on Theme Park to assist with information in that late round.
I mean, look at that. They're pretty quick about it, hey? They've already entered their way in through the drug lab and now starting to cut off that bottom arcade side of the map. There is a player that's the Capcan of Logic who is now stuck there, I believe, as a player from the double door could round this corner. Ooh, doesn't seem like they quite know just yet, but surely taking down that drone is going to reveal his position.
Quiz, he should be aware of the position. He almost gets dropped by Logic, who, I don't know, took him out while he had his scanner. Looking for something on the vert, but fortunately for Homeless, they managed to stick alive. Fortunately for Logic, he gets away with his own.
We've also got Brava on the board at the moment. Now, OJ's decided to send in the special drone force down on that ground floor, is going to find his way up. Oh, and he's also been able to hack something. That little small one just underneath the 0 on his gadget will indicate to me he's caught something with his drone. I wonder what that is. No idea. Absolutely no clue. But anyway, now comes the hard part of the push for Homeless. They've taken below, but the bomb site is above. Yeah. So you need to translate your push up a set of stairs. Now, fighting upstairs can always be quite a finicky type thing, right? You've either got to come up arcade, but there's already a player there to meet them, and coming up yellow is a very tricky gunfight to make because that hallway is so long.
There's also a frost mat on the top, so I really hope that player is aware of that. He's not looking at the frost mat right now. He does toss a nade over the top, and he has a gunfight, does take down Tuhan. He must have seen the frost mat because he hasn't died to it just yet. Wildcard need to try and get this man advantage back. Sawyer starts the affair and can double down now, but he's the last one standing. Surely not now. OJ to try and clutch up after Sawyer's done a hell of a lot of damage. 4 kills to his name. Looking to make it a 4K on the round. OJ reveals his position with a spray and Sawyer gets the clutch. Unreal scenes there for Wildcard. And they've got 2 defenses straight.
And look at him, so fired up as well on the kill cam, rubbing his hands together like, oh, I just did these guys so dirty. Frost 1-on-4. Feels like we've seen that one before not that long ago. And for Sawyer, of course, the captain, the leader of this team, he can clean up, I believe it was 4 kills towards the end of that and close it out for Wildcard.
The guys on the desk were actually pointing out when we saw the stat lines of the team lineup, Sawyer was +4 on entry. And he's not an entry player.
No.
So I don't know how he's finding so many kills that start around. I don't know how he's winning so many 1v1 gunfights at the end of the round. It's not like any of those kills were particularly sharp. I'm not trying to roast him, like that was nuts, but it's not like he was going for these crazy massive flicks. He was just being oh so consistent and he took advantage of the opportunity that Homeless gave to him.
This guy's just chilling, you know? He's no what's his name? He's no Shiko.
Doesn't need to be, does he?
He's no Spoit. Just need some calm aim. That's about it, really, to be able to close that 1v4 like that. Now we can go down to this drug lab and storage bomb site for Wildcard. Of course, they're trying to complete the world tour here. Typically, we would see a defense try and flip their setup and go to the other top floor bomb site, but these guys are actually going to take us to something completely different. We often never get to see this lab and storage bomb site get played at all. And now they're going to look to hold on to this top floor for as long as they can. They've set up their rotations, shields in the top floor, whatever they might need to try and hold on to that room for as long as they can.
Homeless have had quite a bit of teeth on the entry, and now they've got a special ingredient. What is Juicy cooking up here with the Blitz?
Uh-oh, this could be a bit scary. They're all sitting outside that bathroom window, and no one has any idea. Only one player on the site, that is the Pulse of Sawyer, and well...
And they're in!
He's in!
The train goes choo-choo. Sawyer feeling a lot of pressure now. Cairo has opened the exchange, taking down player. Juicy's in the side, Diffuser in pocket, preparing his smokes now to cover himself. As that Diffuser begins to plant the C4 to come over, and it removes him from the server. Massive play now from the lone anchor of Wildcard, and this rush from Homeless has fallen flat.
Oh no, not looking so good for poor Homeless as Wildcard successful on the retake of the bomb site. Now 2-on-5 situation. They are going to be able to recollect their way inside of bathroom just right next to where the Diffuser is, but poor Josh is stuck between two Wildcard players.
Some support from Quiz on the window. As I say that, Sawyer drops him. Stuck between 5 players now. He can find one. Looks for a second. Does pad the stats a little bit. But Wildcard, they're on fire right now, and they are absolutely loving it.
They certainly are. They are so happy in the kill cams. Wildcard are probably, in my opinion, I don't know if you would agree with this one, but I feel like these guys are the most animated roster that we've got in the OC League by like quite a long way.
I think you're probably right.
They're so great. I mean, yesterday Eddie had the happy birthday Xenox sign going up. These guys like really jump up and down like, yo, let's go, whenever they're in their kill cams. They're just so happy. We just love them when they're doing well. And I think that this game in particular is where they're going to start to get fired up. 3 rounds on the trot now, and I think that tactical timeout from Homeless is pretty warranted.
I think it is too. I'm really glad, just talking about how fired up Wildcard are, that it's Sawyer who's got that energy.
Yeah.
Because he's like one of the leaders of this team. He is the important voice. And I think everyone looks up naturally to a leader, even if it's not a traditional role, even if these guys are still just mates. Like if Sawyer is high energy, that has got to trickle down to the rest of the team. Dude is 7-1 right now. He's not a player that usually frags out. He's feeling great. And the team vibes will be at an all-time high.
That's exactly right. When your leader is feeling good, that feeling is going to ripple throughout your entire team. And I think Sawyer being that spearhead, primary Idriel, yes, it can be divided between Eddie and Cairo as well, who are the sort of ideas people on the team. But really the main person calling the macro strategy, what the main push is Sawyer. And so when he's having a good game, all of his teammates are going to be feeling that as well.
In contrast, I think Homeless are probably one of the quieter teams that we have.
Yeah.
Even if you look back at the old Wildcard roster, which had Cairo and Tuhon teaming with OJ that's now on Homeless, that was a very different story. That roster was much more calm and collected. Occasionally we'd see Vinny a bit high energy, but someone like OJ, he doesn't really show a lot of emotion on his face, on the cameras. He's got a bit of character, but it's behind closed doors, or it's on Twitter, or it's in the DMs. It's quite a different flavor. And in that Homeless tactical timeout, we really did see that replicated, right? It was not a lot of energy. It was some glum faces.
And I think that's the Quiz effect, honestly, for this team, is why he's such an important player on this roster, in my opinion, is because of exactly that. I think he's the guy that's the most energetic out of all of them. He really, really brings that fire to the team, and he gets people hyped up. And I think when you have a roster that's kind of as quiet as the remaining 4 players on the team, you sort of need that little injection of energy from Quiz. And so good on him to be on this roster and to be pushing the old guys of Josh and Juicy back on their feet and being excited.
Homeless now quick on their feet. It's OJ who's managed to sneak his way in to bathroom, hunting down this player in lab. Logic. He told me earlier today he was going to be breaking that kill record once again. He was gunning for 22 kills in this game. He's yet to find one.
Yeah, I think Sawyer's taken all of them, to be honest. Not much left for Logic to be able to take. OJ is able to clear out this position with the Dokkaebi call to assist him. Flashbang to go out, but Logic still wide open.
No way.
No way, he's been blinded by that one. Safe behind the cover of the boiler.
I'll tell you right now, there's no one that Log would rather take down, but the refrag looking to come in quickly, and Josh does get him. Great pre-fire with the G8. You can pre-fire for days with the 51 bullets in that LMG. And he does get one step closer to getting Homeless their first round win. It's a man advantage now for the attack.
Uh-oh. Hatch is open for Tuhan, so if he does want to drop down, he could. Not only that, but he can peek over the top of that balcony and take down Josh regardless. Quick peeks onto yet another G8 in the server, but nothing to connect, and Juicy hopping in through the top arcade window will take him down instead.
I think Tuhan got a little bit baited seeing the extremely long barrel on that G8 there. He thought that Quiz was going to round the corner, but fortunately now Homeless have this man advantage 3v2. As Cairo still has a keeper barrier in pocket to work with. Sawyer's actually down on site, which is Armory and Throne. But it's a very different Armory Throne to what we saw previously, Mandy. Homeless absolutely have an advantage here.
Now, that's exactly right. Homeless now, they're not going to go for this full roam clear. They're just going to make sure that there's a drone inside of this big, long yellow hallway to make sure that Cairo can't retake back through the top floor and stop them in their tracks as they try to get this yellow wall open. Time ticking away, though, Dev. It's getting a little bit scary, and Sawyer can actually start to trick this wall. Although that exothermic charge has gone down far enough for him to stop that, now 2-on-2.
Sawyer's position should be pretty revealed. For some reason, Juicy doesn't check the corner. This is a common spot, Juice. You got to be watching for it. And Cairo is watching through the vert. Sawyer! He can't believe it. This guy, I've never seen him this fired up.
This guy is going to, like, head bob his headset off of his face. I can see that happening any moment now. That is incredible from Sawyer and Cairo to be able to clean up that 2-on-3 right at the end. There's so much composure from both of them. This is where it all started out in the replays. The roam clear almost working out for Homeless. They played the attrition and the trade game quite well, both through this ground floor and through the top floor. But unfortunately, with just so little time left to drain out the site, as you were saying just a few rounds ago, those late round drones mean that they had no idea where Sawyer was sitting on the bomb site, and they couldn't clear it out. They couldn't make that execute work.
Andy, at what point do we start to get really worried here for Homeless? Of course, we've gone a theme, which is a very defend-decided map by all accounts, but 4-0, I mean, at 4-2, I could expect maybe a 5-1 if this was a particularly defense-favored game. But Thatcher's in. There's a lot of deadly attackers, Ying, that have been left in. I feel like the attack should be having some more fruit, bearing more fruit than what we've seen so far from Homeless.
I think they could be bearing more fruit, but it is also theme park attack, and I still think it is quite challenging the way that it is. I think that, like, you can only bring along so much utility, right? Even though you bring along what you need for the roam clear, like you could bring along your Amaros, your Jackals, and your IQs for the Valkyrie, and yada-da-da-da, because you've dedicated so much of that lineup to making the roam clear work, then by the time you hit the bomb site, you don't really have your, not your fluorescents, but you don't really have your explosives to clear his armies. You don't really have your enough info, like you don't really have your Bravas. Flores is banned out as well, so it just feels like even though they are quite successful in this early to mid-round, it's hard to translate it to the end, and that's just because of what the limitations of the attack, in my opinion. So we'll have to see what they can do in the second half.
Well, they can't afford to let this half go without a round win, because Homeless need to win this game in regulation to guarantee, well, not to guarantee, to even have some kind of a semblance of hope of making the major. So they need to find as many attacks here as possible. They've brought out that Montaigne, so continuing to try and adapt here.
Keeper Barry, though, is preventing OJ from making his way inside of the building. He's going to have to call along his teammate of Quiz to come along and knock it down with that sledgehammer. Just on the other side there, an impact to go out from Cairo, but it doesn't connect. And finally, that roam clear can start to come through.
This is the real danger of that roam on theme park. You can just continue to peel back the layers, right? A reinforce over now from Logic.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. This is why theme park can be so tricky to attack and can be so defender-sided, right? Because once you get to this point in the attack, you really get stuck in the 3 choke points that are in that top floor, right? It's really hard to convert your attack past this point inside of waiting, past this point in the breach, because this electrification is really hard to clear off the wall, especially, oh, well, they do actually have EMPs on OJ, so that will be made a little bit easier, but can be often quite challenging to get through this wall.
It is a bandit, though, so with the cover from this Azami Keeper barrier, Tuhan could potentially even juggle any exothermics, despite the EMP.
Oh, and here we go. They're actually going to go for a breach onto the office wall instead. And oh, poor Logic was down on the other side and it's taken out by Juicy's charge. Oh, player, that's not good.
No, that's actually very bad. I was going to say one of the more embarrassing ways to die for Logic, but I think for OJ, that's about as bad as it gets. Now player's lost his life as well. There's no EMPs left. Homeless have to get desperate, but it's not looking great for them. 2 players left up for the attack, and Josh has found his first, but immediately traded on back. Quiz revealed his position. He's in a clutch scenario, but this is a tall order.
This ain't good. This ain't good, Dev. Not a fan of this one for Homeless. Potentially going down 0-5 unless Quiz can clutch it up in just 20 seconds, taking the first engagement onto Cairo. But 3 players wait in his line of sight, and he can even walk into a frost mat.
Insults. Right on injury, and caught in 4K on the kill cam.
Devastating.
This is a rough watch now for Homeless fans at home. If they have any hope now, it is going to have to be 7 rounds straight, Mandy. Homeless cannot afford to let this go to overtime. To keep their hopes of a major win alive, they must win this in regulation. Even then, it hinges on other results, particularly Bliss's results. But I just don't see it happening, Andy. At this point, they must be feeling broken. They've used their tactical timeout 2 rounds ago and found nothing for it.
It's actually quite heartbreaking seeing them go down like this. I'm a big fan of this Homeless roster. Of course, the build-up of the X-Knights all banding their way together. And Quiz coming back onto it, I think, was really exciting for them as well. It just feels like this was a roster that should have had so much success going into this league. But unfortunately, he's being taken down by these new, I wouldn't even say Ludovico an up-and-coming team anymore. They've been established for a while, but it's now their time to shine. And for Homeless, it feels like they've been kicked out the server a bit.
It does. Deflated, but they can't let their spirits wane just yet. One last chance to do something on this attacking side, Mandy. You can see full well why teams don't want to go to this at BO1s, right? If you're the last team to ban and you let it go to Theme Park, then the other team gets to choose which side they start on. And so Homeless had that last ban. Wildcard got to choose which side they start. Of course, they choose defense. And they've shown us why it is just so potent on Theme Park.
So once again, Homeless leaning into this roam clear setup. They brought along both the Jackal and the Lion to be able to aid that, as long as the live droning support from Juicy and from OJ for when that wants to come through. Not just that, but they've established their foothold in the ground floor as well. Quiz going for a lurk to see if he can get some control inside of Armory real quick. Actually quite a lot of control on this ground floor early on.
Oh, but this is going to be really unlucky here, I think. They've spotted out the Kaid on the other side. The nade doesn't land. It's actually quite difficult to land the nade right at the top there. The C4 comes over. The nade does clear the claw. The C4 finds nothing, but it's not too bad here for Edpan. He can just go and hide behind the throne. And, I mean, this isn't even the bomb site. This isn't even near the bomb site, right? Homeless can open up this wall, but there's so much more to be done.
That being said, Dev, I do like the early control that they are getting on this ground floor. They're just trying to make the wildcard players have something to worry about, because, well, the last time they tried to attack this, they tried to go directly into that top floor, and to no avail. This time, they dedicate lots of those plays just to isolating that one player inside of Armory, and they can take him down in a nice 2-on-1. Quiz to clean that one up.
Are they going to be able to convert this man advantage now? They have struggled to do so time and time again. They consistently find opening picks. And now they've got a 5v3, Mandy. This is their best chance they've seen so far. They've suppressed any refrag attempt. As I say that, it slips once again between the cracks for Homeless. Tuhan's found one for himself. Logic's in a dangerous position. Now revealed.
Yeah, and once again, tricky situation for Homeless. They've got about 4 or 5 drones on the board, but not a whole lot of time to clear out this top floor. OJ's going to try look for his lurk onto Tuhan on the other side. No way, he hasn't seen him. Oh, thank goodness, OJ there for the trade.
A trade is something, but this man advantage, which was a 5v3, is now only a 3v2. It's a far cry from the hope that they thought that they had. Now they've taken down Sawyer. the man of the hour from Wildcard. It's all up to Logic. He certainly has not been on track to break the kill record as he claimed he might. He's found one so far, but we've seen a number of clutches this game. It seems only right for Logic to deliver one more in the 1v3. The first kill has been found, and the second from Sawyer's Capcan trap. It's devastation once again for Homeless, and their first look into this game relies on Juicy winning out the 1v1 post plant. He sits now inside of storage, and Logic has his number. As he moves on inside, Juicy repositions. I don't think Log saw him on the cross there. It's a DMR versus the AK. And Juicy, all he has to do is bait out the time. Log coming in for the shot, and he lands it! Yet another clutch for Wildcard. But is he going to be able to find the diffuser? Logic, there's no way he doesn't find it. He's lost the round! I can't believe it! Do not ever let Logic forget. This round was his to win, and yet he couldn't put the final nail in the coffin. Unbelievable. Knights have a round.
Did you really just say that Knights have a round?
Yeah, I did. I'm caught in the past.
Oh, Dev is still caught back in 2022.
Look, they're homeless, but they're not roundless now.
How anticlimactic was that clutch right at the end there? Logic almost able to land the 1 versus 3. He found the 2 he needed. One full into an EDD, but not able to find the round.
I just cannot believe
pure
that, bro.
devastation for the 0-6. Well, look, Homeless have got something. They have something to hold on to, and now they get to go onto their defense, Dev. I think this is a really important talking point, right? We saw them have so much adversity on their attack. They almost went 0-6 on their attack, in fact.
They should have. It was just
almost did.
Log being a bit blind.
But I think this is theme park diff, okay?
Okay.
I think it is very possible for Homeless to replicate what Wildcard have just done, going onto their defense if Wildcard run into the same adversities. Now, that being said, because Wildcard is so close to winning the game, they might just look for some pocket attacks, can't they?
Yeah,
Logic has already jumped on that Amaru, which would indicate to me he's gone for some silly business. And Ed is going to support him with those Dokkaebi calls too, so he's going to be very enabled on that roam clear.
Yeah, I think on the defense here, even if Homeless are on paper favoured, they just have this extra added pressure of that scoreline and knowing what an abysmal first half they had. The fact that they were only gifted a round on behalf of a mistake from Logic. There's good information here from the Valkyrie cameras. Even the Legion pick I like here. And as I say that, Duhan walks straight into one and loses out to Juicy. That's a very nice long angle.
Look, all I'm saying, Dev, is it's beginning.
Okay.
The 5-1 Homeless defense half is certainly starting. Logic has made his way all the way inside of break room with that Amaru Gara hook. Eddie has still got 2 of those Logic bombs in hand, so as he cracks his way into this top floor, he is going to get audio cues on these 2 remaining roamers, as well as the live drone to follow in as well. Surely he's aware of the player in this top of the arcade stairs, but ooh, not quite catching him out.
No. Successful rotation now from Homeless as they peel back the layers of this defense. They still have control of top Dragon. We've got 2 players over here. And Cairo snuck his way in. Player is caught on camera. He was on his own observation tool for a moment. He's getting spotted. Cairo takes him down. Might not be aware that there was a second player now on the top of the stairs. It's Quiz. And he does find one. Almost a second, but looks to retreat now with the advantage that Homeless have established.
They've done really well so far to be holding on to the map. Yellow wall starting to be opened by Sawyer. The other side, 2 Selma charges in hand. And Wildcard can start to plan their execute onto this bomb site. Now, we have said time and time again, this is going to be one of the hardest bomb sites, if not on this map, in the entire game to execute onto. So Wildcard are really taking their time to drone out the bomb site and plan out this final stage of the round.
Fortunately, Wildcard have something that we didn't see from Homeless, which is this vertical pressure. Now, this can't clear out a position like OJ's right in the corner of the furnace, but it can clear out the guy who's right in the middle of the side. I believe that's Josh there. Yeah, so he's being forced to move around. Logic's just dropped the hatch now and taken down OJ. And they found another pick. But here comes Quiz for the flank. Log can trade him on out. Just Josh now left in a 1v2. Cairo and Log to find. He's found the Log. Now it's looking like Cairo is called upon once again. Could it be another clutch for Wildcard? Or could it be a first now here for Homeless? Cairo spots him, does a bit of damage. Josh just waiting on the angle, a pre-fire, and Josh will finally find Homeless. Their first clutch and their second round. The start of many that will be required here to come back here on Theme Park.
Really good composure from Josh to be able to claw that one back. Even though it started to look a little bit scary as they made that execute down into the furnace, he continued to play his position just behind that pillar, rotating in and out of the throne to be able to close that out in a nice 2-on-1 for Homeless and DevWell. I'm telling you what, it's starting. It certainly begins. If there's anything to start out on, it is Armory and Throne. It is the defender bomb site. But now they've got to find even more success on the rest of them.
As we look at the wildcard players who have now just fumbled 2 rounds in a row, let's remember what has happened so far across the season for this team. Everyone thought that they were, alongside Bliss, the main ponies to back for the major spot, right?
Yeah.
And now, after letting 2 games go to overtime and dropping 1 match to Circular Spheres, they're down in 3rd place behind both Circular Spheres and Bliss. And they need to win this game, ideally in regulation, to even have a slim chance of making it. Of course, that does bank on Bliss losing both of their remaining games, which are very unlikely. But Wildcard, they've been cursed these last couple of play days. Surely not from a 5-1. Surely it doesn't go OT for Wildcard again.
Look, I want to say surely not as well, but you never know.
You never know with this team,
You never know. Honestly, the amount of times that we've had a hope for this wildcard roster, only for them to drop a point to Kelton's Knights and then to drop it completely to Circular Spheres, just that devastation for this roster has just, it's so heartbreaking to watch. It is so heartbreaking. So many times Ludovica feels like they are so close yet so far. And now even with the new Orc, maybe they've got the new Orc curse. Because wasn't it always wildcard? They always start off amazing in APAC South. They would always win their first 3 play days and they drop the ball and lose it. I think they've got the curse as well now, this full roster. Starting out on the roam clear though, are these guys. They're doing something pretty similar to what Homeless did. They're actually starting out on this cafe side of the map. Has become a lot more fashionable apparently in this series. People don't like going cash anymore. Fair enough, there's a Zami on the board, can be quite tricky. Not only that, but hang on a second, what is this silly business?
This is very unusual. We've got 3 players repelling break, all 3 of which were just trying to get a breach on the break room wall to look into the hallway. Tuhon's made his way in through cafe. Very aggressive now, found 1, but lovely quick peek from Quiz. Does trade it back for Homeless.
Oh, yuck. That was a bit of a filthy peek from Quiz as well to be able to take him down. Pressure's still on, though, from that break side of the map. Not only that, but those young Candelas from the hatch can start to indicate that maybe Wildcard are going for an execute.
Yeah, Eddie's going to drop here. Is that player in sight? Flashed, my dude! You didn't check your corners. He does find the kill on a Quiz before the trade comes through, and up through the balcony now. Cairo's advanced his position, just 2 players left for Homeless as Juicy looks to finally find a head. He does get Cairo. Numbers are even now. Player has been taken exponentially low, but the diffuser has been dropped here for Wildcard.
Oh, that is such a tough spot for the diffuser to be in, but really nice stuff from Logic with the DMR in hand to be able to take down Juicy on that long line of sight. Now player, he hasn't got a lot of health to his name, and 2 players to find.
Impact in pocket. Sawyer and Logic to work together to reclaim this diffuser around in the corner. And it only takes another body shot for Log to get the job done. To find match point to end Homeless's chance of making the major. And to put Wildcard in a position to keep their dream alive.
Good stuff from Wildcard. A lot of composure in the 2-on-2 to be able to close that one out. This game has been a lot of 2-on-2s, Dev. It feels like they play such a great roam and trade game. Both sides, honestly, not just Homeless and not just Wildcard, but Homeless as well, to try and keep pace up with that early game roam clear. But really what it comes down to is a lot of these 2-on-2, 3-on-3 kinds of situations. And I think that so far Wildcard has just really come back out on top of it. They really keep themselves together. They take their time to drone out their plan and then they really go for it. They don't do things with too much haste, and I think in that final 2-on-2 that they had there, being able to take those long range gunfights to take down Juicy, I think was really fantastic from Logic to be able to close it out.
And the largest difference to me about Wildcard we're seeing today, Mandy, and the Wildcard of the last couple of weeks, is that these guys don't seem to be in their own heads. They don't seem to have any fear. They don't feel that extra pressure. They know their chance of making the major is so slim that there is no need to worry about it. Just enjoy it, play your game. They got a massive ego boost from the first half, going 5-1 up when it should have been 6-1. You see Sawyer was laughing when they lost the round. And now if they can dominantly take down Homeless, who we thought were one of the top contenders for Wildcard during their stage. We always said Wildcard's last games are the home run, their toughest matches, right? You got Homeless in their second last play day, and then their final play day is against Bliss. If Wildcard get a dominant scoreline here, and Bliss lose their match later today, Wildcard play Bliss next week, potentially, for that spot at the major.
Damn. That's exciting stuff.
That's what's on the cards here for Wildcard.
So Wildcard are going to win this one, and then they're going to be the biggest Kelton's Knights fans that we've ever seen. That's exciting.
They'll say, look, Kelton's Knights, you guys upset over us by taking us to OT on Oregon just the other week. Please.
Do us a favor, will ya?
Just take down Bliss. Everyone, Circular Spheres as well, are the biggest Kelton's Knights fans tonight.
We stand Kelton. Anyway. Roam clear time. Once again, this is always the scrappiest part of the round for both of these teams. Two-Han to entry it out, of course. Quiz being taken down, but still player on the other side in Daycare.
Yeah, this roam is continuing, but player is feeling really pressured. He spots out multiple, but they all converge upon his position. It's a 5v2 now for Wildcard to close out this map as Juicy looks for a flank.
Homeless now down in the man count are going to have to look for some heroics to be able to claw their way back into this round. Juicy in a nice re-aggressive spot on the yellow stairs, but has been droned out. Wildcard once again playing the discipline game to try and close out this round. Although Two-Han rounding this double might just be able to find OJ.
OJ feeling like he's in a spot of bother, but Juicy's there to back him up. That's something to work with here. Player on the stairs. I think Juicy knows about it and he gets one as well. How many times have we seen the losing team come back with an advantage? It could be one more time. Juicy has to clutch up. A 1v2 now. We've seen a hell of a lot of clutches this game, Mandy. And he does a bit of damage onto Logic. But the final shot from Log is straight between the eyes. Wildcard a dominant 7-2 over their adversaries and Homeless. And their chances of making the major may well be within their hands.
Cairo even came in with a little tease through the camera as well. These guys are fired up in the